So at the beginning of this lesson series, I remember mentioning our musical journey around the world, and I've shown some very basic patterns through this series. Today is time for a test or pop quiz, drum quiz. I want to take you through a little review of some of the rhythms that we've talked about, but I also want to share as many rhythms from around the world as I can in the time that we have today. So a quick review of our African rhythms. We talked about just the pulse, but then in North Africa, we talked about an ancient Ayub rhythm, which was kind of Middle Eastern, and that was the one that we said, I like ice cream, I like ice cream. You can make up your own sentences to these. If I'm traveling across the northern part of Africa, I'm thinking about ice cream to keep my body cool, but I may be thinking about a camel. So you may say, ride the camel, ride the camel, ride. I like ice cream. Say whatever you want to be able to remember it. Many times when I was traveling, I couldn't write it down. And so that's where the idea of these musical sentences came up, is it just gave me a way that I could remember the way that the rhythm felt by the way that I could say it. If you can say it, you can play it. I know you've heard me say that before. So another rhythm, when we talked about West Africa, we added a rhythm that added a slap tone. So I had bass, tone, tone, slap, bass, tone, tone, slap. This was introduced as the cuckoo rhythm in an earlier lesson. And it goes like this. I love to drum, I love to drum, I love to drum. Do you remember the West African drum call? Are you ready to stop right here? Hopefully you said yes, and we stopped together. So there are many other rhythms. There's a popular rhythm that has come up through the drum circle cultures. The song was originally composed by Babatunde Olatunji. I think there were a few people in creating the rhythm and the dance and the movement that went along with this, but it's become very popular. And I love to teach this as a two-part rhythm. So this takes it up to a little bit harder level. I'm going to show you in two parts slow. The first half, I'm also going to show you the easiest version by separating your hands. So take the hand that you write with, place that in the center. Take the hand that you don't write with, and you'll play the tone on the edge. So bass in the middle, tone on the edge. The first part goes like this. I like to play. The second part goes like this. Village rhythms. I like to play. Village rhythms. Now, we'll put it together into one sentence, a musical phrase, if you will. I like to play village rhythms. I like to play village rhythms. Now, that's a very beginner way to play. As we start to advance, we want to go to the last lesson 9, we talked about alternating hands and ghost notes. If I added ghost notes to this pattern, then it's going to change the way that my hands are falling on the drum, or the order of my hands. We call that handings, or traditionally drummers will call it stickings, as if we were using sticks. And so it keeps track of where our dominant hand is and helps us create the phrasing and the flow of the rhythm. And so this rhythm, played very slow without ghost notes, goes like this. I like to play village rhythms. So I'm still separating my hands. Now if I add the ghost notes, I'm keeping this behind that 16th note pattern that we talked about in the last lesson. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a... I like to play village rhythms. I like to play village rhythms. I like to play village rhythms. Now, if you notice what my hands are doing without the ghost notes, I'm playing right, left, left, right, 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 left, or right, left, right, left, right, 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 left. So the hands are much harder for me to tell you that way, but just know that when I'm really grooving on this and I'm playing it and a professional ensemble or a drum circle, then I keep the flow of the grace notes going so that I can keep the rhythm going. So try that. See if you can put on your favorite rhythm and jam along. A couple of quick rhythms. I mentioned another Middle Eastern rhythm, Beledi, from the northern part of Africa or throughout the Middle East. That was the I want to play more, I want to play more. That's the same way. When I add the embellishments, I'm leading strong with my dominant hand. I'm leading most of the rhythms with my right hand. And the left hand is just filling in. So when I went to that second variation, doom, doom, da, doom, da, 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 doom, doom, da, doom, da, right, 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 left, right, left, right, 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 left, right. That's hard to say that fast. So I always suggest practicing slow, gradually speeding the tempo up. I'm trying to just give you some ideas today. Some of the other rhythms, we've talked about everything breaking down to a duple or a triple pulse, but I haven't given you anything in a triple pulse. Now, when you think about this, it may be a waltz rhythm from Europe, a type of classical music, and also a type of dance. It's always in a triple pulse. So you would play the waltz as a 1, 2, 3. Keep it slow. Now you'll notice that this feels completely different. Now as I start to add variations, and I can make it my own. I can keep adding or subtracting. A lot of the times, it's easy to keep adding notes, or we think it is, up to a certain amount of notes. It might just become too fast for us to play. But a lot of the times, we don't think about subtraction. And a lot of the times I find this with people that are beginning to play, that they keep wanting to play more and more and harder patterns and the spicier patterns. That's what you like, right? But don't forget, sometimes keeping it simple provides the best foundation and the most musicality. And so leaving space, maybe leaving one of those spaces blank. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Then we have all of these different styles of music around the world that have been created by different musical styles. So most of the things that I've played are in what I call a straight, even metered rhythm. If I think about swing or shuffle, these are musical styles that we may hear in jazz or blues, and they have a different feel. Let's go back to one of the earliest exercises. This is actually a rhythm that comes from several different cultures, but I'm thinking about the African origins because of that influence of the way that they sang the early spirituals, and blues developed, and then jazz became the level of improvisation on top. So if I play a warm-up exercise that we did, bass, bass, tone, tone, slap, slap, tone, tone. Do you remember that from lesson 2? So I'm going to play the same thing, but now I'm going to shuffle it, or I'm going to create a little bit of a swing, a lilt to it. Now that sounds completely different than... And if you notice, I phrased it a little bit different that time. I can start on the beat, or I can play into the beat. So by learning these rhythms from around the world, they're going to help you expand your repertoire. You're going to be able to take these as a foundation, and then you can build with your own creativity on top of it. Who knows, when you're in a drum circle and you're playing something, you may inspire somebody else, and then not knowingly, they may play something that you hear that inspires you, and it becomes this circle of rhythm. And maybe that's why they call it a drum circle. So keep your rhythms going. I'm going to play out one of my favorite rhythms from around the world. This comes from the country of Brazil. It's a type of samba that comes from the northern Bahia region, and they pronounce it samba reggae, or it's a combination of samba rhythms of Brazil and reggae from Jamaica. We like to play samba rhythms, we like to play. Na Bahia tem, 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 tem. Na Bahia tem, morena, coco, gia, ben tem. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell. We'll keep the rhythms going, and you do the same. Be well.